In the shattered remnants of the Thunder Celestial realm where ancient powers slept beneath broken worlds, one name began to spread among trembling cultivators: Shu Mu. Moments earlier, a single glance had crushed a cultivator's heart, and 10 silent steps had turned a forbidden zone into a land of death. No one present would ever forget that day. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Li Yuan's eyes lit up, and he swiftly retreated several steps into the dark cavern. His left hand formed a seal before rising to point between his brows. Instantly, strands of black light streamed outward, weaving themselves into restrictive sigils that descended and spread around him. His cultivation was not high enough to intervene directly, but given sufficient time to lay down these restrictions, he could ensure that no one outside would be able to enter, at least for a short while. In doing so, he opened a path of retreat for Wang Lin. Wang Lin's gaze was not the same as the one he had cast upon Shen Gonghu when he glimpsed a trace of the third step. Yet it was no less profound. It was filled with the quiet certainty born from his cultivation, from sealing the blood ancestor, and from slaying 2 illusory yin cultivators. Within that gaze seemed to lie boundless confidence, as though it contained the entire world. The middle-aged man sneered coldly. When Wang Lin looked at him, he did not hesitate. On the contrary, he stepped forward again. With that single stride, he crossed dozens of feet and advanced directly toward Wang Lin. What a joke! Someone in the Thunder Celestial realm actually dares to threaten others with a 10,000-foot forbidden zone. Yet just as the words left his mouth, he abruptly halted, because he had seen Wang Lin's eyes. Those eyes were filled with a chilling calmness, so calm that it was as though they were gazing upon a corpse. For the middle-aged man, everything changed in that instant. His body froze. The world around him seemed to vanish entirely, leaving nothing but that gaze. There was no killing intent in those eyes, only stillness. Yet it was precisely that stillness that made his mind tremble violently. The origin energy within his body surged wildly, as though instinctively trying to counter the overwhelming sense of danger emanating from that gaze. Cold sweat beaded on his forehead. The moment those eyes settled upon him, he felt as though he had been completely laid bare, as if every secret within him had been stripped away. It felt as though he stood naked before that gaze. The sensation intensified with terrifying speed. It was as though his very skin had vanished, leaving his organs and origin soul fully exposed beneath that cold, unwavering scrutiny. And as the feeling deepened, he sensed something even more horrifying. It felt as if his origin soul itself was undergoing a violent transformation, his very soul being erased from it, leaving behind nothing but a mass of pure origin energy. Since the day he stepped onto the path of cultivation, he had never experienced such a sensation. It was as though his body and origin soul were being peeled away layer by layer, until in the end he even felt an illusion that he himself no longer existed. A mouthful of blood surged up his throat. His face flushed with a sickly crimson as he violently coughed out a large spray of blood. Only then did clarity return to his eyes, but within that clarity now lurked unmistakable fear. From the moment Wang Lin looked at him to the instant the middle-aged man coughed blood, only a brief span of time had passed. It happened so quickly that no one present could truly understand what had occurred. The instant the man coughed blood, Wang Lin moved. He calmly took a silent step forward. Yet the middle-aged man's expression changed drastically. Without the slightest hesitation, he immediately began to retreat. He didn't even know why, but he felt as though Wang Lin's step had landed directly upon his origin soul. The sensation shook him to the core. Earlier, he had dared to advance because there were 4 of them, and Tang Yanfeng stood behind them. He had felt no fear, but now it felt as though he stood alone before a terrifying corporeal yang cultivator, as though if he failed to retreat at once, he would certainly die. Wang Lin remained expressionless. After the first step, he lifted his foot again and walked forward 10 more steps toward the middle-aged man. The man's face turned deathly pale. Each step fell like thunder in his ears. His mind trembled violently on the verge of collapse. His retreat was no longer even within his control. It was as if his body moved purely on instinct, retreating again and again without pause. He could even feel his heartbeat accelerating wildly with every step Wang Lin took. Each footfall seemed to strike directly against his heart. It felt as though his heart had already begun to crack. After 10 steps, Wang Lin stopped. He slowly lifted his foot once more and brought it down while staring coldly at the middle-aged man. The moment that step landed, the middle-aged man violently coughed out another mouthful of blood. Like a madman, he retreated frantically. He did not even realize that he had already crossed beyond the 10,000-foot forbidden zone set by Wang Lin. And when Wang Lin's final step touched the ground, his heartbeat reached its absolute limit. Thump, 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 bang. His heart collapsed. The origin energy within his body instantly spiraled out of control, tearing apart his origin soul from within. The surroundings fell into absolute silence. Tang Yanfeng's gaze became extremely cautious. Since the beginning of his cultivation, there had been very few people at his level who could make him feel such caution. Not only caution, but deep shock. For him, killing the middle-aged man would have been effortless. But to do so with nothing more than a glance and 10 steps, that was something entirely different. This spell made even him draw in a sharp breath of cold air. With his level of insight, he naturally understood what had happened. The man's death was connected to origin energy. Wang Lin's control over it had been astonishingly precise, guiding the surrounding origin energy to compress inward, building pressure until the man's heart was crushed from within. The woman beside Tang Yanfeng also wore a dark expression. The 10,000-foot forbidden zone lay right before her, yet she did not dare take even a single step forward. It was as though this forbidden zone had truly become a land of death. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze from the corpse and shifted it to the young cultivator who had entered the forbidden zone. Shortly after the middle-aged man, the youth's face immediately turned pale. He was far weaker than the middle-aged man. Having only just stepped into the illusory yin stage, his cultivation had not even stabilized yet. The moment Wang Lin's gaze fell upon him, he hurriedly retreated out of the 10,000-foot boundary without hesitation. "Senior, please forgive me," he said hastily. "This junior knows he was wrong. From this day forward, I will not step even half a foot into this area. If I break this promise, then punish me just like the man before." As he spoke, he raised his left hand. Origin energy surged forth, and his pinky instantly exploded into a mist of blood. Wang Lin glanced at him briefly before withdrawing his gaze. The youth immediately let out a long breath of relief. His heart pounded wildly in his chest. Compared to his life, the loss of a pinky was nothing. The excitement he had felt upon entering the illusory yin stage had long since vanished. Deep in his heart, he silently reminded himself to be far more cautious in the future. Wang Lin did not even look at the others standing outside the 10,000-foot boundary. He simply turned around and walked toward the dark cavern where Li Yuan was waiting. At that moment, Tang Yanfeng suddenly spoke. "Fellow cultivator, please leave your name." "Xu Mao." Wang Lin's voice echoed from within the darkness of the cavern. Moments later, light from the formation flared up, completely sealing the entrance. "Xu Mu," Tang Yanfeng murmured quietly. "I will remember this name." He had wanted to attack, but in the end, he restrained himself, because even now he still wasn't confident he could win. Xu Mu. All of the surrounding cultivators silently engraved this name into their memories. It was a name none of them would forget for the rest of their lives. "Sir." The woman beside Tang Yanfeng frowned slightly, her expression darkening. Tang Yanfeng stood with his hands behind his back, staring at the sealed entrance of the dark cavern. His face remained expressionless as he slowly said, "You thought of it as well." The woman nodded. Although there are many families with the surname Xu within the All-Heaven star system, most of them are insignificant. For a corporeal yang cultivator to appear, especially one this powerful, it must be the Xu family from planet Donglin. She paused, her voice lowering. The descendants of planet Donglin have not appeared for a very long time. Could this person be? Her pupils shrank and the rest of the words died in her throat. Tang Yanfeng fell into silent contemplation. After a moment, he spoke calmly. He is very strong. Even if he is not a descendant of planet Dong Lin, his strength is not far from that level. Our Tang family should avoid provoking him. Then what about the 2 clan members who died? The woman asked while looking at him. If they died, then they died. Tang Yanfeng's voice was cold and indifferent. Without another word, he turned and walked away, completely abandoning the dark cavern beneath the formation. The woman nodded slightly and followed him. As for the young man who had just stepped into the illusory yin stage, he hurried after them as well, inwardly congratulating himself for the decision he had made earlier. Someone who can make even the young master feel wary is definitely not someone I can afford to provoke. Xu Mu. After Tang Yanfeng's group left, the surrounding cultivators began to hesitate. Although Wang Lin had already entered the cavern, not a single person dared step into the 10,000-foot forbidden zone. Even though the origin of the dust had disappeared, the area now felt like a true land of death. After a long time, the cultivators gradually retreated one by one. In the end, none of them dared take the risk. The scene that had just occurred had already terrified them beyond measure. As these cultivators dispersed, the name Xu Mu quietly spread among their acquaintances. Only the formation on the ground remained emitting a faint and lonely glow. After a long time, the light gradually dimmed until there was no reaction left. The formation became nothing more than a dead formation. When Li Yuan had placed the formation earlier, he had already calculated how to prevent outsiders from entering. His first choice had naturally been to create a dead formation. The dark cavern beneath the formation was not large, but deep inside lay a narrow passage. Although the tunnel was cloaked in darkness, cultivators could easily see everything within. Li Yuan walked at the front, while Wang Lin followed behind as the two advanced deeper into the tunnel. Li Yuan's eyes shone with excitement as he spoke while walking. "Brother Xu, I can now confirm that we are the first ones to enter this place since the collapse of the celestial realm. Look at the fluctuations of celestial spiritual energy coming from the walls. If others had entered before us, and the tunnel had been open for a long time, all of this celestial spiritual energy would have long since dissipated." Wang Lin did not respond. Instead, his divine sense quietly spread forward. However, he did not extend it too far. After all, this place was part of the remains of the celestial realm. Caution was necessary, otherwise it would be easy to trigger hidden restrictions. Li Yuan suddenly spoke again, his voice tinged with curiosity. "Brother Xu, earlier in the cavern above I found 3 treasures. However, there was something unusual about them. Later I will take them out and we can analyze them together." Good Wang Lin replied calmly. Meanwhile, his divine sense slowly expanded ahead of them. The tunnel had no branches, only a single path that stretched downward. The passage seemed endless. The two of them walked for more than half an hour without reaching the end. Li Yuan could not help but feel surprised. How deep is this place? Could this be an overlapping fragment? With those thoughts in mind, he increased his speed. Wang Lin followed closely behind. Gradually, however, his brows furrowed. As they continued forward, a strange sensation began to appear within him. It felt as though someone were pressing a finger between his eyebrows, causing a dull, mysterious pain to bloom there. The deeper they went into the tunnel, the stronger the sensation became. After half an incense stick of time, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He suddenly grabbed Li Yuan and stopped. Li Yuan was startled and quickly turned around. "What's wrong, Brother Xu?" Wang Lin asked slowly. "Brother Li, do you feel anything unusual?" Li Yuan shook his head. "I feel nothing." "What do you mean?" Wang Lin pondered briefly before his gaze shifted toward the space between Li Yuan's eyebrows. "Brother Li," he said quietly, "disperse the restriction heart between your brows." Li Gen nodded. The source of his restriction heart indeed lay between his eyebrows. He slowly dispersed it. The moment the restriction heart vanished, Li Yuan's face instantly turned pale. His eyes widened violently, blood vessels bulging until they became completely bloodshot. He sucked in a sharp breath of cold air and hurriedly restored the restriction heart. Only then did he regain his composure. Shock filled his eyes. I felt it. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed faintly. It seems I'm not the only one who sensed it. With those words, he raised his right index finger. Origin energy surged within him as he began drawing in the air. Curved lines slowly appeared beneath his fingertip. The lines glowed with a faint silver radiance as Wang Lin continued tracing the pattern. However, the line at the bottom remained broken, leaving the symbol incomplete. Wang Lin asked Brother Li, "Do you recognize this symbol?" Li Yuan stared at it carefully. It looked somewhat familiar. He fell into deep thought. After a long time, he finally sat down and began mentally reviewing every restriction symbol he had ever studied. Half an incense stick later, Li Yuan frowned. There are 4 symbols that resemble this one. However, this symbol is incomplete, so it's impossible to determine which of the 4 it is. Brother Shu, where did you obtain this symbol? Wang Lin did not answer. Instead, his divine sense continued to carefully spread through the tunnel. After some time, he raised his hand again and continued drawing the broken lines at the bottom. Li Yuan stared intently. Gradually, his expression grew serious. Then suddenly, shock filled his face. Wang Lin spoke slowly. This symbol is formed by the tunnel itself. As I extended my divine sense along the way, I was able to reconstruct its shape. Li Yuan immediately stood up. Brother Shu means someone deliberately carved this tunnel in the shape of this symbol. Although his cultivation was not high enough to allow his divine sense to cover the entire passage, he did not doubt Wang Lin's words at all. Brother Shu Li Yuan continued, "This is a restriction rune used within celestial restrictions. However, it is an extremely rare rune that cannot function on its own. It only works when combined with other restrictions." Wang Lin's eyes flashed. What effect does it have? Li Yuan shook his head. Unless we reach the end of the tunnel and see how the rune is completed, it's impossible to determine the exact restriction. Wang Lin silently pondered for a moment as he looked deeper into the passage. Since that is the case, he said calmly, "Let us continue and find out." He stepped forward. Li Yuan followed behind him while continuously forming seals with his left hand, calculating the structure of the restriction. This time their pace slowed, but they did not stop. As they continued forward, the pressure between Wang Lin's eyebrows grew stronger. His expression became increasingly grim. Half an hour later, Wang Lin's eyes suddenly lit up. His divine sense had finally reached the end. The moment he clearly saw it, Wang Lin took a deep breath and rushed forward. A bend appeared ahead. He turned the corner and abruptly stopped. Li Yuan followed closely behind. At that moment, his own divine sense reached the end as well. He immediately fell into deep thought. At the end of the passage stood a vortex as tall as a human. It radiated a brilliant 5-colored glow. As it slowly rotated, the surrounding area was bathed in that dazzling light. Li Yuan stared at the vortex, while his left hand continued forming seals. Suddenly he stopped. "Brother Shu, I've figured it out. The structure of this rune has only one function: healing. And if my deduction is correct, this isn't the only location containing such a rune. There should be 9 of them in total. These 9 runes together form a massive healing formation. This is truly a grand undertaking within the Thunder Celestial realm." His eyes shone as he looked at Wang Lin. There was something he did not say aloud, but he believed Wang Lin would understand. Wang Lin spoke calmly. "A healing formation. Brother Li means that at the center of this formation, someone has been healed by it over countless years." "That is correct," Li Yuan replied. "Only that explanation can account for everything. Although I cannot confirm whether someone truly used it to heal. If there was someone..." He trailed off. Wang Lin's eyes flickered with a strange light. "A celestial." Li Yuan nodded slowly. "Although this vortex leads to the center of the formation, it has been sealed from the inside. However, I am confident I can open it." He stepped forward slowly, raising his left hand toward the vortex. Wang Lin frowned. Li Yuan was not someone reckless by nature. Why would he suddenly act so impulsively? Wang Lin stepped forward and grabbed him. Li Yuan turned around. That strange light once again appeared in his eyes. Brother Shu, he said slowly, didn't you want celestial spells? What source of celestial spells could be better than an actual celestial? Perhaps that celestial is extremely weak right now. We might even capture it. A restriction appeared in his left hand as he pushed it forward. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He instantly crushed the restriction. Origin energy surged from his right hand into Li Yuan's body, causing him to immediately lose consciousness. After doing this, Wang Lin turned toward the vortex. He stared at it silently for a moment. Then he grabbed Li Yuan and slowly retreated. He had moved less than 30 feet when the vortex suddenly stopped rotating. A gloomy aura spread outward. At the center of the vortex, an eyeball slowly appeared. At the same time, a strange voice echoed directly inside Wang Lin's mind. Do you wish to learn celestial spells? Wang Lin stopped. He stood silently, his gaze fixed on the eye that had appeared within the vortex. Let your friend release that celestial restriction. The voice continued slowly. And I will teach you a celestial spell. Wang Lin pondered quietly for a moment before asking in a calm voice, Who are you? The voice ignored his question entirely. Instead, it repeated in the same unhurried tone, Do you want to learn or not? A faint light flickered in Wang Lin's eyes. Without another word, he grabbed Li Yuan and began to retreat rapidly. It was not that Wang Lin felt no temptation. The promise of a celestial spell was enough to stir even the most disciplined cultivator. But Wang Lin had always been cautious by nature. Opportunities that appeared too easily were rarely as simple as they seemed. Moreover, even if he truly obtained such a spell, Wang Lin would never repeat the mistake he had made with the celestial slaughter art. Only celestial spells that I obtain with my own hands are worth learning, Wang Lin thought coldly. Anything handed to me by others, I will never accept. Determination filled his eyes. Origin energy surged through his body as he quickly retreated with Li Yuan in tow, never taking his gaze off the eye within the vortex. Not long after Wang Lin disappeared down the tunnel, the vortex slowly began to rotate again. The eye at its center stared gloomily toward the direction Wang Lin had fled before slowly shrinking back. I don't like cautious people, the eerie voice murmured. Suddenly, a thread of red lightning shot out from the eye. The eye vanished back into the vortex, and everything returned to stillness. Only the red lightning remained. Like a living serpent, it darted into the tunnel, chasing after Wang Lin. Wang Lin moved with astonishing speed, carrying Li Yuan as he rushed back toward the cavern entrance. Once he reached the dark hole, he pointed several times at Li Yuan's chest. Li Yuan's body trembled slightly before his eyes slowly opened. At first, confusion filled them, but clarity soon returned. Many thanks, Brother Shu, Li Yuan said, breathing deeply. I was drawn in by the strange force within that vortex. He paused briefly, reflecting on what had happened, before understanding dawned on him. That place is far too strange. It would be best for us to leave immediately. Wang Lin frowned as he glanced back down the passage behind them. Li Yuan nodded and did not ask further questions. His left hand formed a seal as he placed a restriction over the tunnel's exit. But at that moment, Wang Lin's expression suddenly changed. Both of his hands rapidly formed seals. Thunder erupted from his origin soul, gathering within his palms before he thrust his hands forward. A roaring surge of thunder filled the tunnel, completely sealing it. Yet in the very next instant, a flash of red lightning tore through the thunder like a blade through paper. All the thunder collapsed instantly. The red lightning shot directly toward Wang Lin. His expression changed drastically. A terrifyingly familiar aura emanated from that lightning. The moment he sensed it, a tremor ran through his soul and his pupils shrank violently. This is the G realm. Without hesitation, Wang Lin retreated. As he stepped back, his body seemed to merge with the surrounding space. But the red lightning was faster. It struck directly into Wang Lin's body. At that exact moment, the formation sealing the cavern entrance opened. Wang Lin grabbed Li Yuan and shot out of the cavern like a meteor. He did not even have time to close the entrance before both of them vanished into the void. More than 30,000 kilometers away on another fragment of the celestial realm, Wang Lin and Li Yuan appeared once more. Wang Lin's body trembled violently. His face turned deathly pale. Suddenly he opened his mouth and spat out a grain of sand. The grain instantly expanded, transforming into a gigantic seal that hovered above them, radiating waves of oppressive pressure. Wang Lin immediately sat down in a lotus position. With a flick of his wrist, the beast bone appeared. It began circling around him, releasing a sinister demonic glow. "Brother Li, protect me." The moment the words left his mouth, Wang Lin closed his eyes. His hands formed seals before resting upon his knees as vast amounts of origin energy surged madly into his divine sense. Li Yuan's expression turned grave. Without hesitation, he slapped his storage bag and summoned the 9 celestial swords. The swords scattered around them, forming a defensive perimeter. Although Li Yuan had no idea what had happened to Wang Lin, he had never seen Wang Lin so serious since the day they reunited. What kind of spell was that red lightning? Li Yuan wondered inwardly. Inside Wang Lin's origin soul, the red lightning raged wildly. It was saturated with terrifying killing intent. Before it could explode, however, it was immediately surrounded by layer upon layer of Wang Lin's dense origin energy. This prevented the lightning from unleashing its full destructive power. But the G realm was simply too terrifying. Although surrounded by origin energy, the layers of protection were rapidly disintegrating from within. It was only a matter of time before they collapsed entirely. Yet Wang Lin did not panic. He was intimately familiar with the G realm. Layer after layer of origin energy continued to wrap around the red lightning, suppressing it again and again. Because of his past experience with the G realm, Wang Lin's origin soul possessed a certain resistance against it. After all, he had once been a master of the G realm himself. Because of this, the red lightning did not instantly erase his origin soul, and instead gave him a precious opportunity to resist. If it had been anyone else, even a cultivator with a higher cultivation level, they would have died without the slightest doubt. Fortunately, Wang Lin still possessed a vast amount of origin energy that he had not yet absorbed. Thus, he was not lacking in power. With unwavering perseverance, he continuously layered more origin energy around the red lightning, maintaining a delicate balance with the rate at which it destroyed his defenses. While Wang Lin struggled against the G realm, far away at the dark cavern, tens of thousands of kilometers distant, one of the cultivators who had been observing earlier slowly approached the entrance. This cultivator had not left with the others. Instead, he had lingered nearby, hoping that perhaps after Xu Mu departed, he might discover some treasure Xu Mu had overlooked. Earlier, he had seen Wang Lin and Li Yuan rush out of the cavern. After hesitating for a long time, he finally approached the entrance. He stared into the dark hole. Then, gritting his teeth, he carefully stepped inside. Several hours later, he arrived at the end of the tunnel. When he saw the vortex, he was stunned. In the next moment, a strange light appeared in his eyes as he slowly approached it. Just then, the eye appeared once again at the center of the vortex. "Come closer. Come, come." The eerie voice echoed directly within the cultivator's mind. As he stepped forward, he completely lost himself. After a long time, a dull explosion echoed through the tunnel. The cultivator's origin soul exploded beside the vortex. Not a single drop of blood or fragment of flesh scattered. Everything was instantly absorbed by the vortex. All traces of the cultivator vanished completely. After absorbing the flesh blood and violent explosion, the vortex began to tremble violently. Cracks appeared within the seal at its center. More and more cracks spread across it. Finally, the seal shattered completely. A beam of red light burst out from the vortex, instantly flooding the entire tunnel. The tunnel itself began to shrink rapidly, compressing into a rune countless times smaller before being sucked into the vortex. Then the vortex slowly faded away. Of the 9 great seals, 5 have already been broken over the years. With the strength I possess now, I can finally activate the remaining 4 and lure others into breaking them. A trace of joy flickered within the eerie voice as it gradually faded. At the same time, throughout the countless fragments scattered across the Thunder Celestial realm, powerful fluctuations of celestial spiritual energy erupted from 4 different fragments. These fluctuations quickly attracted the attention of many cultivators. However, the entrances were sealed. Unless someone like Li Yuan, a Grand Master of Restrictions, appeared, opening them would take considerable time. When Wang Lin opened his eyes again, his entire body was soaked in sweat. His face was pale as he inhaled deeply and pressed his right hand against the ground. At this moment, with a single thought, he could force the red lightning out of his body. But suddenly, his eyes lit up. He slowly withdrew his hand. If I simply expel the G realm, it would be a waste. It would be better to keep it within me. Perhaps it may save my life at a critical moment. Wang Lin pondered silently. Within his origin soul, the fragment of G realm required an enormous amount of origin energy to suppress. But compared to the value of that power, the cost was insignificant. After a long moment of contemplation, Wang Lin finally made his decision. He stood up and withdrew his treasures. Just then, the ground beneath them suddenly trembled. The tremor originated from the tunnel tens of thousands of kilometers away. Li Wen noticed that Wang Lin had recovered, but before he could ask anything, he felt the tremor as well. Neither of them spoke. They immediately took flight. "Brother Shu, that tunnel," Li Yuan began while glancing back. "Don't mention it again," Wang Lin interrupted calmly. "It's best we leave this place as soon as possible." He accelerated even further. Soon the two of them reached the edge of the fragment and plunged into the void. Within the endless void, Wang Lin looked ahead and said calmly, "Brother Li, I intend to go to a place called the Collection Pavilion. If there are any restrictions there, I hope Brother Li can assist me." Compared to blindly searching celestial palaces, Wang Lin preferred to head directly toward the Collection Pavilion, described in the memories of the Yao clan member. If there was any place containing celestial spells, it would definitely be there. Li Wen nodded firmly. "I will do my best." For some reason, ever since what had happened inside the tunnel, a lingering sense of unease had taken root within his heart. It was a vague feeling, as though something enormous was about to happen, like a thorn embedded deep in his chest that refused to disappear. "Many thanks," Wang Lin said calmly. After recalling the location of the pavilion, he turned and released his origin energy, wrapping it around Li Yuan. The two of them transformed into a streak of light that shot through the void. Deep in his mind, Wang Lin thought, according to the old man's memories, the fragment containing the collection pavilion is sealed by the 4 great families. Anyone not belonging to those families cannot enter. I only hope Li Yuan can break that seal. Wrapped within Wang Lin's origin energy, the two of them streaked across the void like a shooting star. They did not stop at any other fragments. Instead, they headed straight toward the central fragment of the celestial realm.